Oh, that's it. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
So the who and the when and the why and the what you gonna do when I pick up the microphone. Cause I'm into it like a dog bone. I got the bark with the bite to match. And I'm counting up all you chickens before you hatch. I'm making scrambled eggs, I'm eating French toast with panzers. This is your brain on drugs. Any answers? Gotta go slow, gotta go fast. Gotta swing low when I walk past. Gotta be first, gotta be last. And you know the rest is cause I got lights out all over my chest. When I say RV, y'all say A. RV, RV. When I say all, y'all say day. All, all, RV, all.
What's up, everybody out in Facebook world, and I guess also Instagram world? Good to be back. Episode 2 of Behind the Scene. Lucas Fritz, the Broadberry and the Camel. We got Jessica Gordon, RVA shows and the Trigger System. Mark Osborne, Strange Matter and Slime Hole and all that good stuff. Just a reminder, if you missed the first episode we put out last month, you can catch it on the Broadberry's YouTube channel, youtube.com/thebroadberryrva. I think Aaron's going to toss it in the comments real quick so everybody can see that. So just a reminder, we're going to also give away some tickets to shows on tonight's episode or whatever. Tickets to Japanese Breakfast, June 6th at the Broadberry, Chrome, which is June 2nd. At Strange Matter, and also the sold-out Hobo Johnson show here at the Broadberry on June 18th. So we've all been pretty busy the last month, so you guys got any cool stuff you want to mention or talk about real quick?
Sure, I can start. One of the bands that most requested to come back, Shannon and the Clams, we've confirmed for here at the Broadberry, July 25th. Pylon Reenactment Society, which is the old band Pylon, remaining singer and members doing Pylon songs. Played last time and was amazing. And then August 31st, we just announced Inner Arma doing their only local show this year with Valkyrie and Genocide Pact. And that one's at Strange Matter.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked on that Shannon and the Clam show. Actually, my sister texted me like the day after we announced. Was like, hey, one of my friends who knows a lot about music turned me on to this band. And I was like, well, you should just come see them at the Broadberry on the day. It's kind of funny.
And I had a few shows announced this week as well, just in the last few days. Sons of Bill, that I'm doing with Lucas here at the Broadberry with Wrinkle Neck Mules. Also, that's August 3rd. Also, the reschedule of the Big Frida show that was unfortunately canceled after it was sold out at Strange Matter. The new date is August 16th, and it's on sale and selling really well already.
Here at the Broadberry.
Here at the Broadberry this time. And also, Mark and I just announced Ringworm, which is July 19th, and that's going to be at the Camel.
Yeah, cool.
Got any?
Yeah, so I'm really stoked on G-Love and Special Sauce. We announced that today. They're going to be here Friday the 13th in July. That's going to be a fun one. Also, John Moreland is coming back to follow up his sold-out show at the Camel this January. He's coming with his full band the middle of July. I think last week, Mark and I announced Red Fang and Monolord at Capitol Ale House in September. And then a little teaser, tomorrow, midday, we're going to announce the 4th annual Shack Up, which is a collaboration between myself and the Shack Band. That'll be 2 days of music here at the Broadberry. It's going to be fun. So let's jump in. Jessica, I think you got a trivia question to give away some Japanese breakfast tickets. What you got?
Yeah, so we've got Japanese breakfast coming back again on June 6th here at the Broadberry. The last show, if you were there, sold out at Strange Matter. So this one's probably going to sell out too, but we want to give away 2 tickets to it now. So here's the trivia question. What's the name of Japanese breakfast's most popular song, the one that's on Spotify with nearly 5 million plays as of today? So if you know the answer to that, type that into the comments, and Aaron over here is taking a look at those too.
Yeah, I bet you can find it by going to Spotify and looking up Japanese breakfast.
Yes, we tried not to make that one too hard since it was the first.
So, yeah, type the answer to that in the comments. We'll get you a free ticket to the Japanese breakfast show. So, I don't know if we said yet, but the name of the Facebook event in this episode is Who Do You Want to See and How Do You Want to Hear About It? So we've had all kinds of thoughts. I think all 3 of us have put out feelers to people on the internet and in real life just to chat about that. If you have any thoughts on it, definitely throw it in the comments section. But we're just going to kind of jump in and go. So Jessica's been promoting shows, and Mark as well, for a long time, definitely in the pre-Facebook era. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what that was like, you know, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and you had to actually promote shows.
So back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, when I first started booking shows, what we would do back then, when it was the day that we were told to announce, we would get a poster and we would put it up in the window of the venue, and then we would.
Sorry, I think we got a winner, Madison.
Congratulations,
says,
Madison! You got it right.
The Japanese breakfast song "Roadhead." So we'll see you here at the Broadberry on
June
6th. So anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Anyway, so we would get a poster and we'd put it up in the window of the venue, and then also we would spend time trying to go to Plan 9 the day in advance or a couple days in advance and be like, can you please put this poster up for us on the particular day that the show was supposed to announce? And then that was the announce. That's how it worked. And then, a couple days later, we would go and have somebody go up and put up a bunch of posters on the poles, mostly like around Gray Street and VCU. And that was really all that you could do back then, and send some listings out to like Style Weekly. We would fax them back then to Style Weekly and other local fax machine, and ask them to, mention our shows in their column.
So it was like up to the chance of the record store employees to put the show up in the window on the correct day?
Back in the day, you were allowed to put your own posters up in Plan 9, but that ultimately caused lots of bickering amongst the staff and promoters and all kinds of people.
Who gets the good window
Who gets the good
whatever.
spot, but also, like all sorts of other problems too. So eventually they decided, as it is today, that they put up all the posters, so then you were at their mercy.
Yeah, John Reinhold's asking about MySpace, and I remember MySpace being around for shows, and that's how I learned about a lot of bands when I was in high school. Similar years, I would get these little quarter page, really shoddily made handbills for shows downtown that somehow would make it to my high school, and I'd see them and I'd be like, this is cool, and I'd go on MySpace, check out the band's songs and be like, oh, cool, I guess that's something I'd want to do.
When I was doing house shows a lot more, I had a site that kind of collectively aggregated those via MySpace and didn't really move to Facebook until like you had to. Basically, that was still like
Yeah, they kind of
Everybody resisted Facebook at first.
Sure.
Right.
And like MySpace was still the place for bands, even when Facebook was like the cool thing. Mm-hmm. And then the event platform just kind of existed. What about like radio? I know. So at the Broadberry, we use radio kind of intermittently on across the broad number of stations. But I remember you telling me before in the past it was much different with radio stations.
Well, there were two big stations back, like in the Alley Cats, the early Alley Cats days. There was Y101, and then there was the station we still have, XL 102, and they were kind of like it was supposed to be all fun and games and kind of humorous. That they were sort of duking it out over different shows that they would present. But one particular night, I'm not sure if it was fun anymore. They parked in the alley by Alley Cats, pulled in like this, so they were blocking each other, and then the rep got up on top of each one of the vehicle, on top of the vans, and they started yelling at each other and throwing things. And it wasn't really funny anymore after that. But so we used to use radio a lot more than we do today.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's so many other mediums that you can get in touch with people that aren't the radio. I mean, back in the day, I remember, I think it was also Y101. They would have, like, the local, not top 888, but they would, like, do, like, the
local shows.
Yeah, and so it's like, I'm going to listen to these shows, and I'm going to hear all these bands, and it's not quite as
They
much
still
like
have
that
one of those,
anymore.
I think, on 102.
I think it's Sunday nights, maybe?
At
Sunday
some
evenings?
point. We should probably know that.
I should probably know that. I don't know, do you have any experience with radio, or even, like, indie radio or anything like that, Mark?
mainly work with a few DJs that have a like personal relationship with Mike Rutz, but a funny like early on day. That's how I met Mike Rutz. We had booked. My friend had lived in this house space for 6 days, and we'd planned already that the first show was going to be like a weekend of him living there. And so I was driving around town, like doing errands day before or day of show, and heard the band that was playing at this house that night, and then heard on RIR this voice that turned out to be Mike being like, "That's Sulaco, and you can catch them tonight at the Bone Zone." And just like, how does anyone know about this? So ever since then, like, that's when RIR was brand new, and kept that working relationship pretty regularly. Occasionally work with bigger stations and NRN and U of R radio, but RIR pretty much has been here almost as long as me. I think it's like...
Yeah, they're great people. I mean, they're right upstairs from the Camel.
And I give away tickets for all my shows with WRIR, like 90% of my shows at least.
Yeah, so tune into WRIR if you want to win free tickets to stuff.
Yeah, and literally would mass text people back in the day, too. Just however many your phone allowed at the time, 10 people at a time.
Right.
I remember doing
paste
that
message, or I don't even think you could paste that, maybe, on the
You sit there all afternoon and like type it out.
Just sending it to people I think would like this show.
Sure. Well, speaking of giving away tickets, Mark, I think we got a trivia question from you.
Yeah, we've got Chrome coming not this Saturday, June 2nd, next Saturday, to Strange Matter. Helios Creed is the band leader and credited to be the godfather of industrial music, and it's been a long time since they've came to Richmond. What venue and year did Helios last perform in RVA? And it's before I lived here, if that helps at all, as a clue.
So just toss the answer to that in the comments if you know. Aaron will keep an eye out. I'll try and keep an eye out for it.
And the venue doesn't exist anymore, so that's...
there you go. There's a little...
Or it exists.
The only kind of narrows it down.
Yeah.
What was the question? What video and what year? Just
venue and year that Helios Creed and Chrome last performed in town.
Cool. Yeah, so we talked about what show, like how we promoted before Facebook existed. You talk about a little bit about kind of what we do now to get the word out about shows and just kind of promote them in general.
Yeah, so can do that.
Great.
Yeah, I feel like now when it's the day to announce a show, we get told like what day to announce it and what time to announce it. It's 10 a.m. or 12 p.m. usually, one or the other.
On a Monday or a Tuesday.
Usually, and so I sort of have a routine. We probably each have one, but I usually start with Facebook and make sure that the Facebook event is up and that everything is there and ready, and then I usually go next to Instagram and then to Twitter from there, and then I go in and start kind of trying to spread those messages further. I do posters and stuff still. We put those all around VCU and Gray Street, but I usually don't do that like on the day of an announce. It'll come like a few days later or next week, something like that. We use posters less than we used to.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we use them a lot. It's just like around the venue promotions.
Yeah.
Like people that come to shows obviously like to go hear live music, so they probably want to hear it more than some guy at Kroger
Right.
or whatever. Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of the same thing. We do a lot of email blasts as well.
Yes.
So sign up for our email list if you want to get updates about shows coming up. But it's also hard. We can segment the list based on past ticket sales and, what shows you say you're interested in when you sign up for the list and that sort of thing. Because we know the last thing everybody wants is just more spam in their inbox. So, email is definitely really good. It's an easy tool, and it helps get the word out.
So that's why we were asking you, if you scroll down in the event, you'll see a poll that Aaron posted there a few days ago. And we'd love for all of you to fill out that poll and tell us how you learn about different shows. Because we're really interested in like what are the most effective and useful ways to let you know about shows coming up that you might be interested in, and ways that aren't intrusive or annoying to you. So we talk about that kind of thing a lot. And we're really curious to get feedback from you about like how you want to hear about shows.
Yeah,
So
it's like
that poll.
obviously you're on Facebook right now because you're watching this, so you use Facebook, and as Jessica said, we all use Facebook. I mean, that's my kind of process is I build the ticket link and then I build a Facebook event immediately after it. But some people don't want to use Facebook. I think Marky put out a post and
that's a trend. Yeah,
yeah,
people
Mitch
want to get
mentioned that he doesn't even want to use Facebook. He's like, how can I learn about shows that aren't on Facebook?
Yeah, I know several people who I would be on their way less if that wasn't just the best laid out event. I think I mentioned that on the last podcast or whatever Facebook live stream. But yeah, it's just they just stumbled into that platform and no one else has taken it down yet. But yeah, there's definitely should be and hopefully is something more event centric that will come along, and like you're helping figuring out what you think that is, because we don't exactly know. We got some ideas.
So one thing we've been toying with, and we're really especially curious to get your feedback on this, and Mark mentioned how he used to text message people and send out like 10 different texts to people about a show. But these days we can send out a lot more than 10 texts, but we're not really sure what you guys would think of that. But we're wondering if that's a way that you'd want to learn about shows. If we were able to be like, this person primarily comes to our indie rock shows. So when we have a good indie rock show that we're announcing, we could send a text out to everybody that comes to our indie rock shows on a regular basis. Is that a way that you'd want to hear about shows?
Yeah, like purely on an opt-in basis. You let us know how often you want to get contacted, if at all, via text. I mean, I know I have my phone in my pocket all the time, and that's the best way to ever get in touch with me. So, if that's something you want, toss it in the comments and just say, like, yeah, I'd be into texts, and it's something we might look into a little bit more in the future.
Or you can tell us, like, I would hate that. We
all
don't know what you think, so that's why we're asking.
For sure. If you want to talk about we've kind of talked about what we do, but maybe some issues we have in promoting shows and just kind of the marketing of it. I know one thing we've talked about, Mark, in the past is like too many cooks in the kitchen when you're just trying to get something done and everybody is trying to do it,
Yeah, I feel like even probably 5 years ago, whenever agents would book with the promoter, it was because they trusted the promoter to market it. They're putting the risk on, so of course they're going to market it the ways that they feel they should. And nowadays, the way that we feel a lot of people are totally cool and do agree still, but a lot of times there's management and label and lots of people that want to get the approval on every little thing, down to punctuation.
Yeah, font size.
Font size is a big one.
Font, like text font, all that stuff.
Yeah,
the location of the band's names and all that jazz.
I used to handwrite like calendars, basically, that would just like listed all my shows. Whenever I was like in between classes and had time to kill, I would just hand draw a thing and take to Kinko's and make it. But like that would not get approved now by most anyone.
Including you.
Well, if I had the time, I would still do it. But my handwriting's gotten a little worse over the years.
Yeah, my handwriting is atrocious. I'm so glad computers exist and I don't have to handwrite anything except for my signature and my little chicken scratch to-do lists every day. So what about as far as marketing shows? I think some people in the past have asked like how we pick what venues shows go to or what bands play. I mean, between the three of us, we do I don't even know how many different venues. We counted it before. I'm not going to say a number because it'll probably be wrong. But a handful.
10-ish.
Yeah, 10 or so
in
and out of town. But yeah, I don't know. Do either of you guys want to talk about how we decide which band goes where and how we do that process?
Sure. A lot of times the band will have a preference if they have history in the market. So they'll be like, oh, we played this venue, we didn't sell it out, we'd like to play there again. Or they'll say, we played this venue and we sold it out. We obviously need to move somewhere bigger. So that's the first step usually, is what the artist wants.
A lot of times for me, it's just kind of a gut feeling. I don't know exactly how to explain it. I mean, what Mark said is true, but then on those shows where the agent says to me, like, where do you think it should go? I usually just have a gut feeling about, like, which venue is right for it.
Yeah, after doing it for this long, there's no science to it so much as I'm like, oh, yeah.
You just know the answer.
The sound and the vibe in this room fits with
right. And
the
then
vibe I think this band would want.
There's also, like, the very base level where it's like, what venue has this one date available?
There's also that.
this is the only date that they still have open. And sometimes that's the most frustrating because the show's not going in the correct room, but we still want to bring it to Richmond. It just...
And then people will surely say, why the hell is this show in this room?
Yeah.
It's like, well, this show could have been...
In no room.
In
right, yeah, very
Roanoke.
true. It could have been in no room. So count your blessings, Richmond. So it looks like a couple people are commenting saying that they're into texts. I don't know, throw some more comments in there, like how often. You know, I thought we can make this checklist where it's like, I want to text every Monday with all the shows that week, or I want to text once a month with the shows that month, or even just as simple as like, only when these artists come, or when this genre. I don't know, if anybody has any thoughts on that, throw it down in there, whether you like it or you hate it or something better, you know.
And what if we could send you, like one thing we were toying around with is what if people who signed up, who opted in to get text messages, what if we could send you, we could announce shows to you like a day in advance before we're really allowed to announce them to the public, sort of like a VIP type experience?
Yeah, especially really big shows.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we want to give you a chance to buy tickets and know about this show like 24 or 48 hours before everybody else can. We'll text you the promo code or we'll text you about the show just to give you that one little leg up. Madison says once every other week with 2 weeks of shows. So, yeah, that could be it. You know, just because then you're not really getting overloaded with things.
Most shows go on sale on Friday unless they're immediate. So I was always thinking like a 10 o'clock a.m. Friday because that's when the first things go on sale. I was thinking like a Friday, like here's the stuff that came out this week. Like,
Yeah, just like
go
here's
to
what's
the-
on
go to the
sale today.
websites
Here's what we announced.
But very much want to hear what everybody else has to think because
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just one guy.
We'd also talked about, and I think a couple people mentioned it on your post, Mark, but just like this universal website where you could go and it's everywhere, you know. Shows at all venues, all different types of things, comedy, performance art, music, that sort of thing. It would obviously not be Facebook, because that kind of is what Facebook is now. But it'd just be something else. I mean, I don't know, is that something people would go to? If so, like what other kinds of content would you want on there?
And I feel like with Facebook, it's kind of hard. You can go look at everything that's going on today, but you also get a lot of stuff that's like people's personal parties and all kinds of events that maybe that's not what you're looking for. You're looking to go out to a club for something.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, Michaela on here has a good point that you announce the shows and that people will get excited about the announcement, but leave it a month or so and then they forget about it. So if there was a way to target them to announce it and then every week, a week in advance, send them another text. That's what a couple folks on here are
So almost
saying.
like sign up for reminders for a specific show via text.
Reminders.
So it's like, hey,
That could be cool.
this show is announced. Let me know 1 week in advance. Or let me know if ticket sales are high. If there's a low amount of tickets remaining.
Yes.
Hey, so that'd be cool. Then people know,
Yeah.
like, oh, shit, I should go buy a ticket to this show now.
Currently, we just use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram to tell people when that's happening, and a lot of people don't opt in for so many notifications, so they might not find out a show sold out.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, I have I got a trivia question here. June 18th, we got Hobo Johnson coming to the Broadberry, sold out in 25 hours. So, for one ticket to see Hobo Johnson, Frank, also known as Hobo Johnson, came up with his original stage name while he was living out of his car. What was Hobo Johnson's original stage name? Just toss it in the comments for a ticket to the sold-out Hobo Johnson show. Cool. Well, all these ideas are great. I think we also wanted to know like what bands people want to see come to town. Did you guys have anybody reach out and let you know some cool stuff or anything you can talk about?
Yeah, that was one that we were going to do the first time, and that's why I guess I pushed to do another one sooner, because I felt like we just glanced over that. And we all made our own posts just to see what our friends and fans and colleagues said. Some ones that kept getting repeated were Shannon the Clams, who I said we announced earlier. That's probably the most requested one, so that was cool. And then several more which have been worked on. At least one of the ones I'm going to name is confirmed and happening in Richmond. La Luz was pretty regularly brought up. Royal Trucks is one that I've tried for several times. Egyptian Lover, a lot of people mentioned. Raining Sound and Hot Snakes, all of which I believe at least one of us have courted.
And
we have a winner.
And one of those 6 is playing Richmond sometime this fall.
Do you see it?
Oh, we got a winner. Okay, I did see it. I don't know who the first is.
Kaylin. Oh, wow.
I'll let Aaron decide who got the right answer.
I'll have to check the timestamps on you guys, but
so,
that was quick.
But the answer is Homeless Johnson, and then we shortened to Hobo Johnson. So there we go. Catch him June 18th. You can use our fan ticket exchange Lite to try and buy legitimate tickets for people that can't come.
Has anyone won the Chrome one? If not, I'm going to just make it way easier on people.
Oh, yeah. Aaron, has anybody answered the Chrome question yet?
No answer to the Chrome question, so if you want to give them another hint.
Yeah, it was, the year was 2003, and the venue is in Shockoe Bottom, no longer there. So that should make it a lot easier.
Give it away.
Jessica booked a bunch of shows there back in the day that I very much enjoyed going to. Yeah, so some bands that people mentioned to me. It's also funny. People are like, yo, I'd love to see this band come to town. And then they're announced and on sale and the show's happening. Like somebody mentioned Lily May. She's playing at the Camel Wednesday night. My buddy Jameson said King Khan and the Shrines. And I actually never heard of that band. And I checked them out and I was like, yo, they are dope. So good job, Jameson. Going to do my best to make that one happen. Dan asking for Los Colones. Keep an eye out tomorrow, maybe. And then Okie Dokie, they're going to open for Raylan Baxter in July. Cole from Super Doppler mentioned them. Nice. And, yeah, they'll be here July 15th with Raylan Baxter.
All right, we have a winner for Chrome, J. Landon Elliott, Alley Cats.
Correct.
Yes, all right. J. Landon Elliott, congrats.
Did you book that show?
No.
No, okay.
I'm not even sure if it was Chrome or Helios Creed on that show.
And Butch.
Sometimes he plays.
I didn't forget about you, Butch.
Plays on whichever.
There was another one before. This is hard. All right.
I'll just add that. Wait, is this her name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Tina.
Yeah. That
Yeah, Tina, who works over at the Camel with me.
Oh, gotcha. Named a band that she really would like to see, and she might want to, without going into too much detail, might want to just pay attention the coming weeks, and she might get her wish.
Yeah. Who knows? You never know. Keep an eye on your text messages.
Or Facebook.
Or Facebook, or email, or whatever. Right on. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We did want to mention that we're going to do this again in June, June 25th. We're actually going to invite folks to come to the Broadberry and be a live audience with us whenever we do a similar thing. We haven't exactly come up with the theme and what we're going to talk about, but we're going to take live questions from the audience, and we're also going to give away a show pass, which Jessica can maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's just this idea that we have that we've been toying with that we're wondering if people might be interested. So, like, you know what a movie pass is, where you pay your whatever it is, $99 a year, and you can go to as many movies as you want. Well, what if there was a show pass and you could buy that and pay by the month and get to as many shows as you want, like at all of our different shows, at all of our different venues. So that's something we're sort of toying with. So we thought we would give one away to one person in the live audience on the next episode. So
yeah,
do we want them to write down their names if they want to come?
Yeah. So comment if you want to come, and we'll reach out to you and try and get you on a list. It's not going to be open for like 1 million people, but
it shouldn't be open to the public. But we
Yeah,
would
you gotta comment
ideally, maybe we could even look at our top ticket buyers online and send them some invites, or
yeah.
people.
So it'll be invite/RSVP required. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. We'll get another event going for that in a little bit. Keep the comments coming in the video, and as always, we appreciate everybody in Richmond Music.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right, see y'all next month.